Shabbat Shalom. This week we are reading Parshat Mishpatim. Mishpatim means laws, and this Torah portion is filled with dozens of laws, ranging from caring for your neighbor, from how to treat those who work for you, how do you deal with your animals, and we're coming right off of last week's Parsha of the Ten Commandments. So we've received the Ten Commandments, and now we're receiving all of these more intricate laws of how to be a people. And I want to focus on one piece of law that we see in this Torah portion. And that is when God commands us to hold 3 festivals, 3 pilgrimage festivals. What are those pilgrimage holidays? Now, you might be thinking the 3 major holidays of the year, maybe Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. But no, the 3 major festivals of the year, and the ones that we actually call Chag, a festival, are Pesach, Shavuot, and then Sukkot. And God says we need to celebrate all of them. So first, Pesach, the Exodus. We need to bring a sacrifice to the temple. All the people will come together. We are remembering the Exodus from Egypt, leaving Egypt. It's the first part of our Exodus story. Part 2, 50 days later, we are told to remember receiving the Torah at Sinai with the holiday of Shavuot. Shavuot, we celebrate again, bringing sacrifices to the temple. We are showing our commitment to God. And the third time, which is the third part of our story, because we started with leaving Egypt, then receiving the Torah, and pilgrimage festival number 3 is the holiday of Sukkot, of the wandering in the wilderness that happens after receiving the Torah. So God says you need to have these 3 festivals, but God adds in an important line, which is, none shall arrive empty-handed. None shall arrive at these holidays, these festivals, empty-handed, rekam, empty. Now, in the time of the Torah, that makes a lot of sense. God is saying, don't come empty-handed in bringing a sacrifice for the festival. Now, that doesn't mean everybody needs to bring an ox or a cow or a sheep. It's okay if what you can bring is a pigeon or even flour. Whatever you can bring is okay. God's not saying you can only bring the most elite items, the most expensive things. No, bring what you can, but don't come empty-handed. Everyone has something to give. Everyone has something to show that they are committed to being in relationship with God. And it made me think about this question for today, because of course, we still celebrate these holidays. We still celebrate Passover. We still celebrate Shavuot and Sukkot. They are still called the pilgrimage holidays. They're still called festivals. We have special tefillot that we do. We have special Torah readings. We gather on those days. There are rituals. I mean, these are the holidays that tell our story. But it brings us to ask, what does it mean for us to not show up empty-handed? Of course, we don't have sacrifices today in the same way. We're not bringing sacrifices to the temple. We're not bringing sacrifices to synagogue. We're not bringing a sacrifice to our Passover table, to our Seder. And we don't bring a sacrifice when we carry our lulav and etrog. But it does make me wonder, what do we bring and how do we not show up empty-handed? So then we have to think about, well, what is sacrifice in our time? What does it mean for us to bring sacrifice in this era? I think that there's a lot of ways to answer this question, but the biggest sacrifice I think about is time itself. We live in a world of extreme busyness. And there's also something in our culture that says it's good to be busy. It's good to be overworked. We live in an American culture which idealizes work in many ways. So sacrificing time, giving up your time for Judaism and for God, I believe in many ways is one of the greatest sacrifices that we can make. Now, of course, that's not tangible. It's not bringing choice flour or a turtle dove or even a sheep or an ox. But it is giving something of ourselves that is sometimes even harder to give up than material objects. When we donate our time, it is just as important as donating our finances. Now, of course, we need both. We need both to succeed. We need to be able to give physical things. We need to have a place for us to gather. We need for us to say, I can give what I can give. And for some people, that's an ox. For some people, that's flour. That's okay. But everyone is able to give time in addition to whatever physical means they're able to provide for a community and for God. So as we are in this Parsha of Mishpatim, as we're reading this Torah portion, which is filled with lots and lots of laws, I want us to be asking ourselves, how do we not come empty? How do we come with something that is important to us and is sometimes hard to give up? It is hard to say, I'm going to give of my time when I could be doing something else. Now, I could just say, I'd rather actually be on the couch watching TV. Yeah. That's awesome. I could say, I'd rather, go to dinner with some friends, which is important too. But then we have to balance, what does it mean to sacrifice our time for something much larger than ourselves and for God and for the Jewish people? I hope that we can think about how we are going to make sacrifices and not come empty-handed as we read the Torah portion of Mishpatim. Shabbat Shalom.